Welcome. This is the Ag Engineering Podcast, where we talk tools, tips, and techniques to improve the sustainability of your farm. I am your host, Andy Chamberlain from the University of Vermont Extension, and this podcast is supported by Northeast SARE, providing grants and education to advance innovation in sustainable agriculture. We're trying to improve the industry by chatting with farmers and getting their input on tools, tips, or techniques that have changed the way they farm for good. Many of these practices affect multiple areas of the farm. Whether it be environmentally, emotionally, physically, or financially, we share the knowledge to promote sustainable agriculture, lifestyle, and business. Thanks for having a listen. Now, let's get started. Today's episode comes to you from Thorndike, Maine, where we interview Phoenix O'Brien of Hallbrook Farm. It's his fourth season on this farm, but he's been in agriculture the last 7. He's growing in the zone 5B and on about 10 acres. 100% wholesale to supermarkets and grocery stores. Their farm is bringing in approximately $225,000 in gross sales. Phoenix, welcome to the show.
Hello.
So if you could describe your farm a little bit in one sentence, what would you say?
We are a small-scale vegetable farm growing produce to sell to supermarkets and small grocery stores.
Well, today we wanted to talk about carrot harvesting. So if you could share a little bit about how you harvest carrots on your farm, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah. So we used to harvest them by hand, just top them, put them in a bin, and drive a hay wagon down, pick them up. Last year we invested in a old Scott Viner FMC top lifting carrot harvester, which we used last year for our carrots, beets, turnips, storage radish, all the fall root crops that you dig and top. So we've started using that, and yeah, we like it. We're never going back. Makes it a lot easier. You realize why that stuff's so cheap in the store. Yeah.
I didn't realize that harvester was good for beets and turnips and other crops like that. I thought it was dialed in just for carrots.
Oh yeah, no, it'll do all that stuff. We haven't tried it on rutabaga. I've heard people say that it doesn't work great for rutabaga, but I've also seen them for sale up in Canada all the time. So it says they're set up for rutabaga. So, I mean, I think they can do it all. I mean, it definitely shines on the carrots just where there's so many of them, you know. But I mean, it does a fine job on all. I know it's faster than doing it by hand on any of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think your throughput increase was between how you harvested it before by hand and going to this machine now?
It was significant. I think I forget. I mean, we did all the math before we got involved with the thing, but you know, I think we figured one good person could do between 200 and 300 pounds an hour, depending on the picking. You know, assuming like you got a good clean field, the carrots are big, you're on the higher end of that. This thing, you know, you can do 500 pounds in 10 minutes or better. You know, kind of regardless of how big you know, especially on carrots, but on anything, you know, how big the size of the crop. I mean, assuming you don't have any weeds in the field, you can cruise.
How is it that weeds slow you down? Does it plug up the machine?
Yeah, plugs up the machine, makes visibility not so good. I mean, you've got some on this particular piece of equipment. The way we run it, you have somebody on there actually steering the gathering points. But yeah, the weeds definitely they mess everything up. They drag all kinds of dirt up into it and plug the whole machine up. It's not a good deal. You definitely need to run something like this. You need a clean field.
What's your key tool to a clean field?
Haven't figured it out yet. I mean, we've flame weed and basket weed, and we have a tine weeder. But
Yeah.
the times we haven't been able to nail it down consistently every time, and we were struggling this year desperately with, we're spending too much money hand weeding stuff. I think just good rotation and having enough time to make your beds ahead of time and work the weeds out of them is the answer.
Have you had to do any modifications to this?
Well, we bought the thing. It was in rubble pieces, pretty hard shape. So we modified it to work. Yeah. No. I mean, as it is, we pulled. As it was all there, but we just had to go through it, bearings and belts and stuff. But we did. In our wash pack shed, we're not set up it's set up to load bulk bins. But so we pulled one boom off and built a platform on it, so we can, we could in theory set a bulk bin right on the piece of equipment to fill one day. But last year we were just filling those harvest totes with them. So we built a little stand and a platform there for somebody to stand and, swap bins out as the carrots are coming on. It's not a great way in terms of material handling, but
Yeah, it's kind of an intermediate step before you go full palletized.
Exactly.
How fast does it fill up one of those flip-top totes?
Rapidly. I mean, we were having to drive the tractor about as slow as you can with having the PTO turning at the right pace. Yeah, quick. I mean, less than a minute.
Carrots are flying.
Yeah, the carrots are flying.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you bought it used and in quite rough shape, but how much did that set you back?
I gave $800 for it. But I think we've got around $10,000 tied up into it.
Oh wow! So you put a lot into that machine.
Yeah, too much. If I had known what I knew getting into it, I would have probably just financed something a little bit newer. Because we just paid for all that out of pocket. I mean, we have a very nice, well-running machine, but we kind of got in a little deeper than I intended.
Yeah. That's quite a project.
Yeah.
You know the ins and outs, though. You know how it's all put together and how it works.
Absolutely.
Is there harvesters like that fairly readily available that you could have just purchased for $10,000?
I mean, I've looked around. I guess I think you can get a good Univerco, which is like you can still get parts for these. They're quite a bit older, but you can get it. Seems like a good working Univerco machine for anywhere from 12 to $18,000.
Mm-hmm.
Up and running. Seems like most of them are up in Canada, but you do see some more locally. Seems like they come and go, but you also need quite a bit more horsepower to run one of those newer machines. Univerco does make a smaller unit, but I think those are relatively new and there's less of them around. I mean, these old Scott Viners, we were pulling it with a 35 horse 2-wheel drive tractor last year,
and that was well matched.
I mean, the tractor was a little light for the harvester, just in terms of it pushing it around, especially on our hills. We got slopey ground, so not always perfect, but it certainly did the job. We have a bigger tractor now. Wasn't really an issue.
Are there nuanced techniques to running this machine?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just getting your ground speed right, and depending on what you're harvesting, adjusting your belts, but certainly getting ground speed and your the throttle on your PTO, getting those matched up so you're stuck, the rate at which you're pulling carrots into it and driving forward. That's that's the only real trick to it. And some adjustment of the knives so it's doing a good job topping, but that's all fairly simple stuff. It's just a matter of moving your knives in and out from each other. I mean, I think that the nuance is more just, once you get into mechanical harvest, as we learned, is just having good field conditions. You don't want to be out there getting stuck in the mud, and you can't be wading through weeds. We didn't get it done this year, but, it's definitely pushing us towards earlier planting dates on all that stuff so we can get in the field earlier. Or, this year we just ended up making sure they were on our nice dry pieces of ground that we knew we were going to be able to get across. And, variety selection, I guess, also becomes more of an issue, especially where that's a top lifter. So it's literally pulling whatever it is up by the top. So if you get lots and lots of frost in the fall on your carrots and tops get weakened, or, alternaria could make it so you have a crop you really couldn't even harvest with it if the tops were badly damaged.
Yeah, that'd really put you in a pickle.
Yeah, it would be and I've heard of that happening to guys. So that puts you in a bad way. And I guess the other thing to say on it is just that we're getting our harvesting done a lot cheaper and quicker, but it really kind of dictates a whole system around it. Like all we did was shift the bottleneck, because we're not storing our carrots dirty. We're storing them clean in bags. So while we are getting the harvest done quite expeditiously, we're spending quite a bit of time washing still, and we're not set up to handle bulk bins, so we're still moving lots of material around by hand, which is, we didn't get everything all set up at once. It's not the silver bullet all on its own.
Right. Like you said, it moved the bottleneck.
Yeah, that's all we did was shift the bottleneck.
Well, I guess before you would have had, 2 bottlenecks throating production,
right.
So at least you speeded it up somewhat.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. What used to take us over a month with a gang of people took us, cumulatively like a week's time.
Yeah, that right there is awesome. Must be stress relieving too.
Roots are a pretty big part of our income. We've done it with 3 of us. That's one person having to swap out bins, one person driving a tractor, and then another person running the machine. But another person helping to ferry stuff back and forth wouldn't hurt. But what we usually do is just park a wagon on either end of the field and offload the carrots, more or less after every row or every other row.
Are you able to harvest your whole field and then wash it all, or are you just harvesting a few rows a day and washing that and then carrying on the next day?
Yeah, we set it up where we have people washing while we're harvesting if we can gather up enough help.
Yeah.
But I think with the number we were doing harvesting around 4,000 pounds, and then having to stop, wash, get more totes. Yeah, I think cumulatively I think we did 20,000 pounds of carrots. I think there were 5 days out there or something of harvest. That that wasn't those. They weren't full days. They were partial days and then we had to stop and wash.
So you're washing them clean and packing them into bags. You said how big of bags is that?
25-pound bags.
Mm-hmm.
Stacked on pallets. We don't have a whole lot of cold storage here, so we don't really have the means to store them dirty.
Now you kind of rebuilt this machine from the ground up. So are there any modifications that you decided to do that you'd really recommend for others who might have also found an old Scott Viner?
I think if there was anything like that, nothing wild. I would think that somebody could, and I've thought about doing it, is you could mount the hydraulic controls on your tractor, and then you could eliminate having another person to steer it. the way it's oriented, you'd have to be doing a whole lot of looking back. I mean, you could put a camera on there and get a screen in front of you, but that's the only thing I thought about doing. We probably won't do it, but
Yeah.
Just to have one less person involved. I think that's the only big change we did, and not that putting that. We just made a very simple stand just to be able to fill totes where we were kind of in this transition time.
Yeah, your platform.
Yeah, but other than that, no, nothing that I could see.
Well, that kind of sums up my questions on that. Is there anything else about this machine that you'd like to share?
No, I think that pretty well covers it.
Cool. Well, if others want to follow up with you and see what you're doing, how should they do that?
Email is a good way to get in touch. Probably the best way.
And you're on social media too?
Yeah, we are on Instagram at Holbrook Farm, Maine. That would be another way to get in touch.
Awesome. Well, sounds good. Thanks for being on the show.
Oh, no problem.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you learned something today or plan to make a change on your farm, let me know. I'd love to receive any feedback you have. Just click the link in the description to submit the form. It will help the future of this podcast to be a resource that is helpful for you. And while you're at it, I hope you go ahead and subscribe, share this with a friend, or leave a comment. And if you want more information, check out the show notes on our website at agengpodcast.com. That's agengpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great day.
The proceeding has been a production of University of Vermont Extension. For more information on Extension, log on to www.uvm.edu/extension.